Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Chula Vista in California. We're still in San Diego, but we did have to move campgrounds today. Hope you've all had a super fantastic sparkling day. I know I have had a very interesting day. Yes, so where to begin? So before I get into the never give up and keeping the faith, we're going to talk about car chases and interesting things along the way. If you've read my Facebook page, you'll already know about this, but we waited at the RV resort for the last possible moment in case there was a cancellation, so I wouldn't have to move campgrounds. And when it was evident that we weren't going to get anything on that, hey Nathaniel, kia ora, good evening to you too. Good evening, Chuck. When it looked obvious that we weren't going to get any, so I hopped online, found one campground that had availability. It is a Campgrounds of America, the COA in San Diego, down here in Chula Vista. They had two different sites I could choose from, so got booked in and everything else, and we are now down here. But as I was leaving the campground, and I left Escondido, it was just after midday. It was probably around, what was it, 12:15, somewhere around there, and pulled out onto the street, and we were right by the interchange to get onto the freeway. So I was in the left-hand lane waiting to turn onto the freeway, and there was a cop car over to my right sitting near the where the cars come off 15 South, and then there was a cop on a bike sitting at the intersection there, but over against the far lights, and they all had lights, lights all flashing and everything else, but they weren't allowing anybody to drive. And we're like, what's going on? I think, maybe we've got somebody important coming through, some VIP or something. And then the next thing, this car comes flying down the off ramp through the intersection and straight up onto the on ramp. And I found out later it was a woman driving. She was fair flying. I don't think those wheels were touching the ground very much. And then waited a little bit, and then here came the police car. There was like 3 cop cars behind her, sirens going, lights going. Then a motorcycle cop came past. Then there was another car, and then the motorcycle that was controlling our traffic, he went off after them. Then the car that was sitting over by the off ramp, he then turned and followed and gave chase as well. And then we had a green arrow, so us in the turn lane and go up onto the 15, could not see a flashing light anywhere. Now we were on the 15 South, we were the last on-ramp, off-ramp before the 78. And you could see the helicopters up top all circling around and everything else. And so carried on down the 15, and later on I found out what had happened is that she lost control of the vehicle as she went off the 15 to try and get onto the 78. There's a not a bad curve, but it's not one that you would take at high speed. And I posted the link in the posting earlier, so check out my Facebook page, the link's all there about it and everything else. And so then I just tootled off down the road there and carrying on, and because I had to go a fair way down the 15, and came to some other intersection. I can't remember which one it was, but it's 2 lanes were coming onto the freeway, and they had to merge before they got to my lane that I was in, and I always travel in the right lane and merge into with that. And these 2 pickup trucks were coming down neck and neck, and they were not giving as to who was going to give way to the other person so that they could merge. They were just coming down. So I'm seeing this out of my mirror, so I'm slowing down because there was no way I wanted to get tangled up with that. And the next thing, the white pickup flashed right in front of me, and I had to slam. I basically stood on my brakes right in front of me across 4 lanes of traffic, and narrowly missed the barrier for the HOV lanes, and got into the HOV and just took off. And I'm looking around, and the other pickup just carries on and merges. My rig's still rolling gently, and I look across. There is no. I'm like, how the hell did he miss 4 lanes? He didn't get hit in any of those 4 lanes of traffic, and he narrowly missed the barrier. I was like, oh my gosh, it was a miracle that he did that. So got down to the campground. We got in place here, got a nice pull through here. Across the way from us, they've got jump pillows, which are like these huge big bouncy castle things, but without the walls. It's just like the floor area, and the kids are over there having a blast. There's a lot of families here this weekend, and it's awesome to hear the kids just running around and having a blast for the weekend. Mojo and I went out for a walk earlier, and a lot of people are getting set up and having little mini parties at their RVs and things, and they've got friends gathered around them, and who are staying, it seems like there's clusters of people who are traveling together that are all camping in the same area. And it's just great to see all of the stuff that's going up, and people are decorating all their campsites and all of that. And me, I've just got my power cord plugged in. I've got plenty of water in my tank. I'm only here for the night. I did my dump I did the dump of the blank tack in the grey tank this morning. I've got the awning out. I've got the sides out. That's it. In the morning, it's going to be a real easy pickup. I got to get back up to Escondido because I have to check in there before I go over to babysit the grandkids for the weekend. So that was my day. Kind of exciting. And, Mojo wants to say hi. Say hi, Mojo. Can you say hi? No? Okay. He was saying hi to everybody else as they were walking past. We got a nice little picnic table. We were sitting out there earlier after we'd come back from our walk, and just sitting there watching people walking past and all that sort of stuff. Good boy, Mojo. Good boy. He really wants to play. I don't know. Where's your toy? Don't know what he's done with his toy. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about never giving up. There were times that when we were it's one of the life lessons that I learned when we were on our big road journey. And there was times that I was just so fatigued and so tired and so mentally exhausted. I just wanted to curl up into a pile and become a pile of goo. There were times that I managed to control it while I was there. I could feel the tears, the tears welling feeling that I just wanted to burst into tears, but I'm driving, so there's no way I can do that because then I want to see what's on the road, and that could be catastrophic. That could be very bad. And I just wanted to pull over the side of the road and just let loose with the emotions. But it always happened in places where there was no shoulder. And it's just like, we're coming around another corner and there's another hill we've got to climb, or another hill we have to go down, or there's another gust of wind that picks us up. Or it was just almost like that straw that broke the camel's back. There was one more gust of wind. There was one more truck going past that was buffering us. And it just became overwhelming. To figure out how to dig deep. And then I'm like sitting there, I just want to pull over the side of the road. I'm done. I'm done with this. I am so done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to pull over the side of the road, and then I'm like looking at the side of the road going, can't do that. But then I would hear this little voice inside my head that says, you can do this. If you're not going to drive, who is? Because your dad ain't going to drive and your mum ain't going to drive it. Who's going to drive? And it's like, damn it, I've got to keep driving. And so it's like, okay, take a deep breath and push through it. Then this little voice would come back again and say, you don't have far to go, just hang in there, it's going to be okay, you're almost at your destination. And these little voices there. And then it was sort of like a lot of praying was going on. I had a lot of gospel songs going on in my head, and I had a couple that got stuck that I basically sang in my head. A lot of the times when I was driving, they would just go over and over and over and over in my head. I can't tell you how many times I sung those two songs. There was two songs. One was Shout to the Lord, and the other one was, what's the other one? Oh, I Can Only Imagine. I had both of those songs going through my head, and I would pick one song at the beginning of the day, and it would just go over and over and over in my head. Even though other thoughts were coming in, those songs were constantly playing in the back of my head. And they helped a lot to keep me focused and keep me going. I was making up other songs. Got those songs going in my head, and then I'm making up other songs. Another way that I was relieving the stress and trying to find the fun in it was trying to find things I could talk about and be fun about. And when I got this overwhelming feeling, I was sort of like, Dad, when's the next rest stop? And he had this great book that we got him. It's called Next Exit. And the Next Exit has all of the interstates in the US in it by state. And it has the exit numbers, and you can look through it to see where's the next rest area, where this exit is there, is the gas station, what restaurants are there, what shops are there, what attractions are there, what camping grounds are there. It is full of information. It was like the best thing. I think it cost like $14 for the book or something like that. It was well worth the investment to have that. And Dad would, he'd have the map book out, he would have that out, and he would look at the map, he'd look where we were, he would look what exit number we're at, and then look ahead to see when's the next rest area, or when's the next place that we can take a break. That's how we found Medicine Creek Cafe, where we had that awesome Marionberry pie with the homemade crust. That's how we found that place. But then he would tell me how many miles I had to go. It's like, okay. And then this little voice would come back and go, you can do it. You can do this. Keep going. Just keep on going. And so I would keep on going. And but I would make up little songs like, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Well, this one was, I'd see a truck coming up behind me, and he'd pull out and the truck would pull out to overtake, and I would look at the colour and I'd go, oh, the big blue truck goes round and round, round and round, round and round. The big blue truck goes round and round as it rolls on by. And we would just change the colour of the truck based on what it was. Sometimes they came a little faster, so I couldn't keep up. And it was just like, okay, we got some trucks coming. But it did help calm me down. It helped relax me. So there really was a lot of keeping the faith in there, and praying a lot, singing a lot in my head. Sometimes I'd sing out a little loud to myself, but the big blue truck, the big red truck, the big green truck, whatever colour the truck was, that one would get sung out loud. And we saw some interesting vehicles along the way. Saw some 3-wheeler bikes, saw a Datsun club that must have been out because they were old Datsuns. The little they didn't have the hard tops. They were convertibles, and they kind of remind me a little of the Mazda Miatas, but they were really cool. So you got to see some interesting sights. But it was all about, every time I felt like giving up and all of that, it was digging a little deeper, pushing through it, keeping the faith that everything was going to be okay. We were going to get to our destination all right, and everything else. So that's basically what I did to get through the struggles that I was facing with the fatigue. But now I know better next time how to calculate my travel times a little easier, so that we're not going to have that problem again. Not unless I get stuck in traffic, but that's another situation. I mean, you can have fun when you're stuck in traffic. It's a lot of fun. Because then you can put some tunes on and dance to them. But anyway, that's my topic for today. Never give up. Every time you face a struggle, push on through. And I've done that so many times over the last few years. Every time Brad faced a new challenge, we just had to keep the faith and push on through. Keep the faith and push on through. When Brad passed, it was keep the faith and push on through. When I'm floating around and not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, it's keeping the faith and pushing on through. When I would spend days locked in the house and not going outside, and then suddenly realized that I needed to get up and go out for a walk or something, it was sort of like, never give up. It was get out there and get living. But every time I came across some obstacle, some challenge that was mentally taxing me, and I was at the point of just wanting to throw in the towel. Now, there was times I say, I'm done. I would actually say out loud, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And then that little voice will get into my head and go, you can do this. Keep moving forward. As long as you got that forward momentum, let's just take it a minute at a time. So there was times on the road I was taking it 1 mile at a time. 1 mile. Okay, we've got that mile marker. Let's get to the next mile marker, and to the next one. And so I was falling back on that training, back on those stuff that I learnt with Brad's cancer was, sometimes you just got to take it a minute at a time. Sometimes you sit there and you got to watch that little second hand, and even just 15 seconds. Get me through the next 15 seconds. Okay, got through that. All right, let's go for 30. Let's go for a minute, and building it up that way. So never give up. Always keep faith. And that's it from me for today. So whenever you're facing struggles, always think it is a growing thing that you are going through. When you face struggles, you are going to grow through it, and you have the choice. Do I cave in and let the situation win, or do I just keep pushing forward? And I always end up choosing, even though I wanted to throw in the towel and everything else, and I'll just throw my hands and go, I'm done. I quit. I'm done. That little voice would come in here and say, you've got this, let's get through the next minute, let's get through the next mile, let's get through the next 50 seconds, or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get through the next mile, get through the next minute. And it would keep me going forward. And the next thing I know, we're at the end of the road, we're at our destination, or we're at a rest area where I can get out, I can walk around, I can clear my head. In the case with Brad, it was, there was a few times there, especially when he was in hospital for those 87 days, where he got the infection, and he even said to me, he said to me, he says, I can't do this anymore. He says, I'm done. And I bent over and I said, I said into his ear, and I told him I loved him, and I said, don't you give up on me. I said, and he says, I can't do it. And I said, well, don't you make me make those phone calls to your boys. and he found the effort inside to keep going. This was right near the beginning when he was first admitted. He just found the thing to dig deeper and to keep pushing forward. So, we helped each other through rough times. Fortunately, whenever we had a rough time and one of us was just like, I'm done, the other one was not in that same place. So we had each other that we could bounce off and we could encourage each other. So that was kind of cool. But, so I always remember those times when one of us was down, the other one wasn't. But anyway, enough from me for tonight. I've rabbited on long enough. You can tell I'm tired because I'm rabbiting and waffling. See, Mojo here's sort of like, I just want to go to sleep. Good boy. So from Mojo and me, it's have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you tomorrow from, where am I tomorrow night? San Marcos. So we will catch up with you from there. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. He konera.